Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on African Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it comes from a translation of a message that I received. The first message, it reads like this. Hello, how are you? Can you please post my story as hidden identity? I am a Zimbabwean man, but I have been in South Africa for a very long time. I even feel South African. So when I came here, I was only 17 years old, and then I started staying in Venda with this other old lady. She then adopted me. I then got married, and me and my wife, we have kids. We are staying here in Venda. The exact place where we are staying, I can't tell you, but we are in the business of transporting kids, not only here in Venda, as well as in Polokwane. We do have our house there, and I have my kids that are staying there. So they also manage the business. We do transport kids to school as well as back from school, and we own 3 taxis as well. So in order for me to get where I am right now, it was not because of the grace of God, but this was after I had assisted this other man who was desperate. He had been doing his double up coming from Zim, and he said that he wanted to go to Louis Trichardt. That was where he wanted to go to. I met him, and I knew that he was from Zim, and I spoke with him because I just had the habit of helping people that were from Zim, that were trying to find a job. After I had met him, that was when I took him to my place. We then spoke. I asked him a lot about Zim because it had been a very long time ever since I had gone to Zim, and me being an orphan, I did not have anything that connected me anymore to Zim. So I would ask those that were coming from Zim, how was the country like? I was with him at my place. We then gave him food to eat, and I promised him that he could stay at my house until he would have found a job. Then he started doing some piece jobs. Later on, he left my house. He used to sleep in the garage. He then came back after he had gone to his country. When he came back, he then told me that they had done like a ritual ceremony for him so that now he can start to work as a sangoma. And I said, oh, that is exciting. I did not know much about it. And then he said that the first person that his ancestor wanted to bless was me. And I said, me, what did I do? And he said, for keeping me safe, for helping me with a place to stay. And I said, okay, it's fine. I did not even believe in anything that has to do with ancestors, because if ancestors were real, they should have never let my father die and my mother die on the same day, because my father and my mother, they both perished in an accident after they had came to the village where my father was born, so that he can show his relatives the car that he had bought after receiving a promotion at work. So I hated anything that had to do with ancestors. He then started to assist me. He cleansed me, and he gave me a walking stick. He then told me to start a business. So then I started a business of selling acha, and I bought my first Bakim. It was a Nissan at body, a long base. That was the one that I started to use to carry school kids, going with them and fetching them later after the school would have knocked off. I started to make a lot of money. He then gave me a clay pot with a flower inside. He then said that this flower, it is supposed to be green at all the times. He told me that we could give it water here and there. We had to give it milk. He said, think of it as a child. A child survives through its mother's milk and a little bit of water here and there. When you give it water, he said, do not give it too much. You give it at least warm water. So we would put warm water into the flour, and later on, whenever we will do it, then we would see that the flour, it will vomit the water. And then we started to give it fresh milk. Me and my wife, we would go and we would buy fresh milk each and every morning because it had to be fresh. And then we would pour the milk and the flour would be so happy. We started to get a lot of requests from different villages, people wanting me to transport their kids. So the car that I had, it was not enough. We then went to the bank because we wanted a car. So we just wanted to understand if we can be able to be given a car. When we went there, I then just felt something that spoke with me. It was a voice, but this voice was not talking like the way you and I talk, but it was as if it was speaking with me from inside of my brain. It then told me that I was supposed to put my feces inside that flour and to pour milk, and I was supposed to wash myself with the milk that will be remaining in the 2-liter bottle of milk, and I was not supposed to tell my wife. Or at least my wife was in the car. I ran inside and I said that I just wanted to relieve myself. I went into the bathroom. I took a tissue and rolled it on the floor, and I did poop. It was not a lot. Then I went to our flower pot and then I put it in there, and I took a bottle of milk and I poured, returned back to the bathroom, went into the bathtub. After I had undressed, then I started to pour that milk on top of my head, and I had that milk flowing all over my body, and I was not supposed to wipe myself. I wore my clothes, cleaned the bathroom, flushed, and then I went to the car. And when I entered into the vehicle, my wife, she just looked at me and she said, because she was surprised because I had milk all over my face. But since she understood that we were into doing all of these rituals, and she did not say a thing, and then we left the house, we went to the bank. We had to sit inside the car so that the milk can dry, but my face, it was white. And then we went into the bank. People were just looking at me whilst we were waiting in the queue. Then we were assisted by this other man, and we told the man that we wanted a loan because we were in this business. To our surprise, he then asked us if we had any dealership that we wanted to get a car from, and then that was when we went to this other dealership which was nearby. It was selling new cars, and we selected this other taxi instead of a car. We returned back to the bank and he said, okay, congratulations. And then he signed a couple of documents and he requested some printouts and other documents that we had to sign. And that is how we got our first taxi. We put it on the road, and I kept on being told to always poop into the flour and to always pour fresh milk in them. Life continued as if everything that was happening was normal. By then, my wife knew about me pooping into the flower pot, and from one taxi to another, and we kept on getting a lot of requests. We finally bought another house and another house, and then my kids are now managing the house that I have in Polokwane, and I also have taxis, including cars, those that carry kids to school and back from school. As time went on, that was when the flour started vomiting the milk, and then I had a voice that told me that blood was needed. We used to go to this other butchery, and I would speak with that white man, and he would sell the blood. This was the blood of cows, and I would tell him that he was not supposed to give me blood that was mixed, the blood of pigs that was mixed with cow's blood. If it was the blood of a goat, there was no problem, or the blood of a sheep, there was no problem. So it even reached a point whereby I used to go to this other farm where they would slaughter the cows, and I would buy the blood. They did not even understand why I was buying blood, but this blood, I will keep it in my fridge, then I will defrost it, and when it was liquid again, then I would pour the blood into the flower pot, and the flower kept growing big and big and big. As I am speaking with you, this flower, it is now covering an entire room at my house that I do have in Makado. I do have one house. It is a double story. We do not stay there at all the times. It is a house that I just use for those rituals. Because what was happening was that each and every time when our wealth was increasing, then that flower would grow big. It became big until it reached my shoulders, and then it got big until it reached the ceiling. When it reached the ceiling, it did not start to grow tall anymore. It stopped once its leaves started touching the ceiling. It then started growing to the side, and now it covers the entire room. When you go in there, you have to push the leaves aside so that you can be able to go to the center. And the surprising part about it is that the flower pot, it is still that same small flower pot where we now put the blood. So after I had started giving it the blood of cows, it then started to vomit the blood. And then it told me that I was going to receive an opportunity whereby I'll be transporting kids that go to secondary schools. And all along, we had been transporting kids that went to primary school. So for now, we do have either contracts with parents from Venda here, as well as in Polokwane. We do have contracts with other parents as well, and we transport their kids that go to secondary school. So if there are girls that are in our transport, when they are on their menstrual cycle, my drivers, they know this. I hired drivers, those that I initiated as well into these rituals, but they work for me. So they have a dream. If there is a girl that is going to be on a period the next day, when he goes to collect that girl, what my driver does when he reaches the place where that girl will be staying, I won't say exactly, but there are some couple of rituals that he does. And the car, he has to wash its tires with blood, and then after that he washes it with water. So this will connect that girl that will be menstruating on that day with my flower. So her blood that will be coming out, she will think that it will just go on her sanitary pad, but that blood will go straight into the flower pot. And this is how I have been maintaining my wealth. I did this because I did not ask for it, but it was a blessing from the ancestors, from that sangoma that I kept at my house. And then he said that he wanted to bless me. Was I supposed to refuse or not? Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our brother right there. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Let us try to speak about this in the comment section. He's saying that he is a flower, and this one, it is not a flower that I use for rituals, but our brother right there is saying that he is a flower that is growing big each and every day. That flower keeps on growing and growing. It now covers an entire room. Can you believe it? Let us try to speak with our dear brother in the comment section. Then there is another message that I am going to be sharing with you, and the message, it reads like this. Hello brother Nashi, how are you? Can you please post my story as anonymous? My name, you will call me Noctula, and I am a South African woman. I am aged 35 years old. I am writing this because I want help, really real help from people that even come from Zim. I helped my boss to do something wrong. Now I live with fear. I worked as a helper for my boss. He was from Zim. I was out of university and looking for a job, and he wanted an accountant. He was rich, really rich. We went to the same church, and people, they respected him. It was my first job, and my job was normal. All that I had to do was to do their shopping cleaning and driving. Then one day he asked me to do something that was strange. He said that if you see a woman that is on the street that is not well, bring them here, I will help them. He said that he wanted a mad woman, even those women that are drug addicts. He said that he wanted to help them, to pray for them. Since we went to the same church, I believed that I was helping and I wanted to keep my job. I started driving around Pretoria. When I drove around, if I would see a woman walking alone, picking things from the rubbish bins, talking to themselves, I'll stop the car. I would then put a ring that he had given to me on my little finger, and then I would speak with that woman softly and offer food or water, and then that woman will come to me and get into the vehicle as if she was being forced by something, and then I will take that woman to my boss's house, and my boss will take that woman upstairs. Then my boss, later on I found out that my boss was sleeping with all of these mad women. When I found her, this was after I had brought this mad woman to his house, and then he had forgotten his phone in the car that he had told me to take to this other place so that it can be fixed. When I got into the vehicle, I then saw his phone, and then I went back upstairs, and then I heard loud noises of people that were making love, and I was close to the door, and I opened and I saw my boss. He was the one that was on his all fours as if he was a woman at the edge of the bed, and the woman, the mad woman, she had a strap on, if you know those strap on, and it had like a man's manhood, and that woman was busy making love to him. It was so strange. He panicked and he said, "Why did you open the door?" From that day, I stopped bringing those women to his place, and then he made sure that he got me fired. He even wanted me to get arrested, and I started to have a lot of weird nightmares. When they wanted me to get arrested, they said that they wanted to go to Italy for a vacation, and they wanted me to stay at their house. So later on, when I was praying, that was when I had a revelation that they would say that I have stolen their money, because when they told me about this vacation, there was even a lot of money that was on the table, and then I refused, and then they started to make a lot of accusations about me, about the way that I used to steal their money and abuse their cars, even though they would have sent me. And I stopped going to church because they used to threaten me. Those people, I don't know where they went to. They stopped coming to church. I even heard that they sold their house that they had where I used to take those mad women in Senton. That was where they were staying. So I don't know if the man and his family returned to his country in Zim, but I used to get paid a lot of money. There were times when he would give me bonus, and then my money would be around 47 to 50k on a monthly basis, and all that I had to do was to drive his cars and to do some errands for his wife, to drive the wife when she would go for business meetings. It really sounds so strange, but I think that this man, he was a ritualist. Although there were times when I just thought that maybe he was gay and he had this fetish of sleeping with mad women. I really do not know. That is why I also have come here, because I still have those weird dreams, and in my dreams I am always being touched by people that I do not know. I just see black hands that come out of a black cloud. I have tried to pray about this, but it does not help at all. When you post, please do not share my profile with anyone or my real name, and tell me so that I can go to YouTube and read the comments as well. Dear listeners, right there was a message that was sent to me by one of our dear sister. Strange things indeed they do happen in this world. Can you imagine? having a job whereby you have to pick up a mad woman, then later on you find out that your boss has this mad woman behind his back and she has a strap on, and that mad woman is sleeping with him as if he was the woman. Do you think that he was a ritualist, or maybe that was what he was into? But why mad women? Why not any other woman? Why a mad woman? Let us talk with our sister. She was also saying that she is afraid of praying anymore because of what she sees after she would have finished praying. But she did not tell me what is it that is scary, that is so scary for her, that she always see whenever she is finished praying. Let us talk with him in the comment section.